If you have ever bought a piece of software or an application to solve an operational problem, set it up, trained your team on it, and then watched the exact same problem come back 3 months later, you already know the difference between a tool and a system, even if you have not had it named for you yet. A tool is a software, an application. A system is a documented, reliable, repeatable way of getting a specific piece of work done, and the software is just what runs it. Buy the tool without the documentation, the ownership, and the accountability, and you have bought a subscription, not a system. And this video is the tactical companion to the founder bottleneck post. If you watch that one, you already know the diagnosis. This one is the prescription, the actual systems to build, the tools that run them, and the order to build them in. I am Derek Fredrickson, founder and CEO of the COO Solution. Now, before we get into the specific systems, it is worth being precise about what makes something a system rather than just a process someone follows. A real business system has 3 parts. Number 1, a documented process, meaning the steps written down somewhere other than living in your head. An owner, meaning someone besides you who is responsible for it running correctly. And number 3, and a tool that supports it, whether that is a software, a checklist, or a shared folder. Whatever fits the job. All 3 have to be present. A process that only exists in someone's head is not a system yet, no matter how consistently that person actually follows it. And a tool with no documented process around it is just a subscription nobody actually uses correctly. And the reason this distinction matters is that most businesses that feel chaotic are not missing software. They are missing ownership and documentation. The tool is usually already there. Now, business process optimization, the discipline of looking how work actually gets done and removing the friction, is the through line connecting every system below. Most businesses in the $1 to $20 million range of revenue eventually need all of these, though not necessarily on day one. To start, your point of sale system or a CRM, customer relationship management system, is the operational front door if your business takes payment in person, online, or both. It is the source for inventory, sales reporting, and downstream decisions. Square and Toast are the common starting points for service and retail businesses. There is also HubSpot and Salesforce and many, many others. Shopify POS makes sense if you are already running, say, e-commerce and want in-person and online sales unified together. What matters more than which one you pick is whether it feeds your other systems, because a POS or a CRM that does not sync to your books means someone is re-entering the same numbers twice. Next, your project management system is where what is happening and who owns it lives outside of your head. Tools like Asana, ClickUp, and Monday.com are all solid for small teams. The differences between them matter less than whether your team actually uses whichever one you pick. The real test is not whether it looks organized, it is whether you could take a week off and a client deadline still would not slip. Next are workflow management systems, which automate the handoffs between these various steps. When a form gets submitted, a workflow tool creates the task, notifies the right person, and updates the record without anyone manually relaying all the information. Tools like Zapier and Make are the most accessible starting points for a small business connecting tools that do not talk to each other natively. This is usually the highest leverage, lowest cost fix on this list. Most small businesses are manually doing something a $20 a month automation system can handle. And you could also explore using AI agent platforms for these functions like Manus or Claude. Now, the US Chamber of Commerce 2025 Small Business Technology Report found that 99% of small businesses now use at least one technology platform, up from 93% just a few years ago. And businesses using 6 or more platforms in a coordinated way now make up nearly a third of all small businesses. And among those high-tech adopters, 4 out of 5 reported growth in sales, employment, and profits. Now, the question is not whether to adopt technology. It is whether you are adopting it as a system or as a pile of disconnected subscriptions. On the software side, all-in-one platforms like Zoho or flexible workspaces like Notion or Airtable trade some specialization for the ability to see everything in one place. For a business under about 15 people, one well-configured hub usually beats 5 best-in-class point tools that do not talk to each other. Your data management layer, where customer records, project history, and operational data actually live, is the unglamorous foundation under everything else. Google Workspace or Microsoft 365 handles this exceptionally well for small teams. And a dedicated CRM, as mentioned earlier, becomes worth it the moment then one person needs a reliable shared record of every customer relationship. And your accounting system is the one to get right first. QuickBooks and Xero cover the vast majority of small businesses very, very well. The more common problem is not the software. It is inconsistent bookkeeping habits that form around it. And if your books are more than a month behind, that is the system to fix before any of the others. Now, the system that looks best on paper is worthless if your team quietly reverts to the old way of doing things within a month. Rollout is where most business systems actually succeed or fail. So before you introduce any new system, know the answer to 3 important questions. Who owns it day to day? And that person cannot be you. What the old process was doing that the new one needs to replicate. And how will you know within 2 weeks whether it is actually being used? So a single walkthrough really sticks. Document the process in writing, a short SOP rather than a full training deck. So the answer to how do I do this is a link rather than a person's memory. And check back at 2 weeks or 30 days, not just on launch day. That is when you find out whether the system actually replaced the old habit or just sits alongside it. A system that is not revisited quietly drifts out of date the same way undocumented processes do. It just takes longer to notice. Business continuity planning does not need to be an elaborate disaster recovery document for most small businesses. It needs a written answer for your 2 or 3 most critical systems, usually payroll, client delivery, and whatever else touches cash, covering who else could step in and where the instructions live if that person running it disappeared tomorrow. And when systems need updating, which they do, the instinct to rip out and replace something that is mostly working is usually wrong. Treat updates as amendments to existing documentation rather than starting all over, or you end up retraining your team on every new system every time something minor actually changes. And on security, a simple password management system like 1Password with 2-factor authentication on anything financial, and clear access controls on who can see or edit what are the baseline or any business with real customer and financial data across multiple tools. The businesses that get burned are rarely the ones targeted directly. They're the ones where basic access hygiene was never set up to begin with. Here's the part most system building guides skip over. Every system above can be documented, purchased, and launched, and still fail if no one owns making sure it keeps working. Documentation answers, how does this work? It does not answer who is making sure it still works in 6 months. That is a role, not a document. And that is where a fractional COO earns their place. The COO Solution is a fractional COO firm that places experienced operators into founder-led businesses across the United States. And the same people who build the operational infrastructure that lets businesses run without the founder are the ones who implement and maintain the systems this video walks you through, rather than handing over a document and expecting you to own it all. The goal is not to remove the founder from the business. It is to build the structure that stops the business from depending on the founder for everything. Now, if you recognize your business in more than one section of this video, the right starting point is understanding exactly what kind of operational support you actually need right now. Take the COO Solutions fractional COO quiz at thecoosolution.com. It takes a few minutes and gives you a really clear picture of where the gaps are and what the right path forward actually looks like. Or schedule a discovery call directly with me, and we will walk through your specific situation. This is the COO Solution.